Welcome to devotional number 24 of Learning Love. This is Comparison Leads to Jealousy with Chris Glatzel. So why do I feel this overwhelming feeling that if given a choice, people would choose to hang out with others over me, that they like them better, or that I'm not a good friend? I've met them, I'm nice to them, so why do they all hang out with someone else instead of me? Where did I first start believing the weedy lie that I'm not a person people would want to be friends with? Or that if others are chosen over me, that means I am less than them? When I say that out loud, it doesn't make sense because I do have friends and we get together and have a great time. Or sometimes I feel left out. When groups are assigned and tasks handed out, I think, well, why wasn't I included? Why did that person get the job or that compliment? That's the one I wanted. Sometimes, even when I hear someone pray, I feel like, well, I should pray like that. That somehow they are better than me because of how they pray. What's the issue here? Love says I should be happy for others when they are blessed and consider others before myself. Besides, I get included when my skills are needed. But I still get this feeling when I see other people get a compliment or a task I want to be considered for. Sometimes I have a subconscious thought that gets triggered, perhaps by something innocent, by like what I see on social media. I see other businesses similar to mine and have thoughts like, I'm not doing enough. People won't want to come to me as a person or a business. We aren't doing all the cool things they are. Comparing myself to others leads to me feeling insecure, and it opens the door for jealousy to grow in me. When this comparison jealousy issue pops up, I ask God what the weedy lie is that I'm believing. And He has shown me that it goes back to my childhood again, being the poor kid with the clothes that didn't fit right, the messy house, the government food. I didn't feel like I measured up then, and it was that feeling that was still hanging around. I've forgiven my parents. They were doing the best they could, and I forgave my classmates that might have made me feel that way. I'm sure now that they didn't think those things, but tell that to myself as a kid. I started being able to identify that feeling of being left out when I compare myself to someone else or feel jealous of them. It's a thought process that I have to deal with occasionally. So I have to find some truth to meditate on to combat the lies. In 1 Corinthians 3, I find that jealousy is part of my sinful nature, which I'm trying to grow out of. You are jealous of one another and quarrel with each other. Doesn't that prove you are controlled by your sinful nature? Aren't you living like people of the world? 1 Corinthians 3:3, New Living Translation. God is calling us to live differently than people of the world. And when we are comparing ourselves to others instead of growing more godlike, we are feeding a part of us that we don't want to encourage, jealousy. He tells us that He has plans for us. Those plans are specific to you. The plan He has for someone else is not the same plan He has for you. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11, New Living Translation. So when you begin to feel left out, remind yourself to stop comparing yourself to someone else, to be happy for them, and thank God for the specific awesome plan He has in store for you. So let's do our processing. Who do we need to forgive in this situation? Do we need to forgive ourselves for allowing the jealousy to grow in our hearts? Is there someone who always compared us to somebody else in a way that made us feel less than? Is that the person we need to forgive? Okay, rewind. If I'm left out, it doesn't mean that I am unwanted. Rest. God has something special in mind for me specifically. that means that he has friends and opportunities intended just for me. Okay, now let's do our responding. So, what makes you feel jealous or left out? And then write out your plan to tell yourself the next time feelings of jealousy start to well up in your heart. It's always a good way of dealing with things like this. Jealousy is to, when we are thinking about it, in a more like in this sense where we're thinking about it in the sense of our devotional, it's like, okay, I'm going to prepare myself, I'm going to prepare my heart for what am I going to tell myself the next time I start to feel jealous. And that way we're ready. The jealousy, we know that occasionally the jealousy is going to pop up. So when that does pop up, what are you going to say to yourself? I have all I need. God, has provided for me. What are you going to tell yourself when that jealousy pops up? All right. Thank you. I will see you next time on Learning Love.